And we are live here on Old World Exploration, back with the Tuesday night live. I had a string of those in the spring, took a bit of a summer break, and as the fall season approaches, you're going to be seeing more regular lives on Tuesdays. And this time we have Kairos. He's back. Kairos has done several in-depth investigations into San Francisco. Before we go any further, too, I just want to mention I do have a new mic, so if anyone who's heard any of my recent lives, let me know if this is better. Or if I need to buy something even more expensive. Anyway, yes, Kairos has been on twice. Here, let me just share the screen. This is on my channel. You can, if you go to my live section, if you missed the last two, you really need to check them out if you're interested in this old world content and the San Francisco Bay Area in particular. Kairos is, I would say, the main figure in that area that is exposing the false history of San Francisco, and in so doing is exposing false history everywhere, really. I had him on 6 months ago. Oh, sorry, this is the new one. I had him on 6 months ago down here, and then he came back on a couple months ago, and we took it a little bit further, and he's here back with me today to take it even further, investigation into the San Francisco Bay Area. So without further ado, here he is. Kairos, welcome.
Well, hello, and what a great time to be back with you. I know a lot of people have enjoyed our explorers, so I'm pretty excited to present more of my findings in depth, but I also want to take us on a tour of a place maybe no one has heard of before, the city of Colma. I'll tell you about that.
Yeah, I've never heard of Colma before.
So I'd like to begin by opening up into the map and showing the Bay Area once again, so people are familiar with where we are. So this is looking over the greater Bay Area, San Francisco in the middle, which is 7 miles by 7 miles. Here in the Bay, where we've done some of the tours, is Alcatraz Island and Battery Cavallo and Fort Point. But notice this is the Farallon Islands, way off in the distance. And the Farallon Islands are notable. They were a location of one of the Fresnel lenses, and built in the 1850s. It was a location that originally people were allowed to go, but it is now off limits. And for a future exploration, it would be, I think everyone's heads will spin when you find out what's in this void. Some of the deepest waters in the world, courtesy of the US government and various dumpings. We'll leave it at that for now. So back to San Francisco, and this is the site of the Sutro Baths that we've explored in the Sutro Heights, and Golden Gate Park, which is the site of the 1894 International Exhibition. So this is the entire grounds where one of the World Fair sites was. We've explored the Palace of Fine Arts and this large 635-acre section, which made up the 1915 World Fair, built in 2 years. And then right over here is the ferry building along Market Street. And we're going to go down Market Street in just a minute. But over here, Yerba Buena Island, remember the name Yerba Buena? Mm-hmm. But here's Treasure Island, a man-made island built for the 1939 Golden Gate International Exhibition, another World Fair. And there's many buildings that are still standing that were part of that. There's these large exhibition halls, and this was used as part of the fair itself, a spectacular structure. It was a seaplane terminal, but if you've watched Indiana Jones movies, this is the scene location used for the airship port as they were trying to escape from Germany. So this was this was all dressed up in Nazi regalia, and
the papers. Isn't that
They had all the banners hanging from these windows. Amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we're going to go into the heart of San Francisco, up the most well-known sections. We're at the Ferry Building. I want to get this directly overhead so we can see what we're doing. So here's Market Street. So if you've seen the trip down Market Street, 1906, before and after earthquake footage, it starts many blocks and travels towards Market Street. So that is the location. So as we come up Market, and we find ourselves in this interesting location, this triangular section. I'm going to turn off these labels for just a minute. So here in this corner, we're going to look at this section today. So this is the current UN Plaza. This is the large space that goes right up the middle. I want everyone to take note of these sycamore trees that are planted in a very specific grid. And this is very heavy stone material. There's concrete and granite. The layout is spectacular. This is the location of the original City Hall, which is now the UN Plaza. In this space here, there's something really interesting that I think you'll be able to see. I'll see if I can position it. This right here. You see that? And you see that? Okay. This is the Oddfellows building.
Oh, wow.
And it's right at the end of the triangulation. Everything points to that building. Let us keep that in mind. So as we're looking today, we're going to look at some of the historical photos showing what a amazing building this is. So very huge. The dome is 42 feet taller than the U.S. Capitol in Washington, D.C.
Wow.
From inside, it's difficult to see. See if you can see this. The red brick interior in these courtyards is evident. So this is a red brick structure. And you can see here. Some of the rendering is correct, and it does show damage. I don't know if I saw that side, but we'll get a chance to peek at that. So we'll see that the dome has some sort of metal segments. It has a repeating number of columns, doors, decorations. On top is quite astounding. I mean, it's amazing marble, and the layout is familiar. We look at the top down, and we see the segments. See if I can get this to. So we have our octagon.
Yeah.
But they're multiples. So it looks like we have. Let's see if I can do this. It might be 24 sections. I have to count that. So I wanted to show the area. Now, this area has a very unusual history that people may not know about. And it's called Yerba Buena. So there's Yerba Buena Island, but in this location was a cemetery, San Francisco's first cemetery. And I think it was pretty well full by 1850. So this entire area was said to have had their graveyards moved it but it's actually not true. They've determined that they're saying there's hundreds, but it's probably thousands of existing remains underneath this area right now. So the city of Colma becomes a quick detour as we move down into South San Francisco. And here is the small city of Colma, 2 square miles, population 1,500, population of dead 1.5 million. This is referred to as the city of the dead, the city of the lost souls. It is well known that everything, with the exception of this little neighborhood and a few little businesses, which maybe they covered up, maybe they covered up. I look down towards the bottom and there's this spectacular building, but look at all the tombs.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Grave of Joe DiMaggio right over here. So it is said that San Francisco may have had as many as 12 cemeteries that were relocated, and the story is they carted them all down here. But as we go back into San Francisco, going back north, we see the standard golf course after golf course after golf course after golf course after park, and then we start to see what's left. So I'm going to open up the next video for you, or rather the slideshow.
Yerba Buena, it'd be an eerie place to live almost, it seems.
It's a very strange thing, what their story is. So we're going to look at some of the former cemeteries. So we're going to find out number 8 is right here in the Civic Center, where we're going to find ourselves in a few moments. But you notice there's a lot of other cemeteries in inhabited areas now. Presidio Cemetery is a Civil War cemetery. And then the one over here by the Legion of Honor, I don't know the history of it, but it's something to look at, something to take note. This is the Yerba Buena Cemetery. You see it takes up that section that I showed earlier on the map. So it's 3 blocks plus the little triangle below. So quite a large area. This is a layout of the landscaping and the design within the city center, the plaza now. So this is the location of the old city hall, and this is all the interesting landscaping. Remember, there's tombstones under here, and brickworks, and the sewer, and a lot of other things. So a lot of people have been speaking and theorizing on the use of piezoelectric phenomenon to gain power, and also the use of specific trees to harness etherical power potential grounded to the earth, and many times, as we see, set in very obvious grid patterns and layouts. So the Civic Center Plaza has notoriously had many trees laid out in specific lines over what we're seeing seems to be old world, original, restored, remodeled, changed in place, and we're not allowed to learn about what's underground. So we don't know how this is being used, and this seems to be the direction of the research, is trying to figure out why were they so precise and so genius with their builds and their layouts in all of the places we're examining. This is the original pre-1906 in the corner, the tip of the graveyard, Yerba Buena, San Francisco City Hall. So we see that this is built with all of the detail that you notice, all the arches, all the decor, red brick interior, iron, and amazing stone facading with hints of tech. Looking down into, so this might be Market Street right here.
Yeah. The tip of the triangle.
Yeah. So we see this is we have quite a large number of street lights represented. We have to be careful when we look at these photos too carefully to come to hard and fast conclusions. I always like to look for the shadows and see if they are similar to other things. So, for example, these guys seem to be casting shadows, but this massive pole, maybe nothing. I don't know. I'd like to see the horse. They have a hard time faking the shadows of horses.
Yeah, the figures, they don't. Those men in the foreground, they don't look real either. Something about them looks fake to me. Yeah.
Yeah. I notice a different style of pixels in the base layer of the photo. You'll see a fine representation, and you'll see it blur out. Possible evidence of layering. So this is a drawing or a colorized photo of the old city hall. There are structures currently in this location that do resemble the footprint of some of these buildings. And then there's a photo I'm going to bring up in a moment that will see the rediscovered brick foundation underneath this very site when they were doing some work in the plaza. So from Anytown, USA, plastered with all these gaudy and awful placards, terrible, but it looks like we have possible cobble or brick. This is the means. This is the means of the day. We never want to forget this. This is that's a normal load. But in the background is a spectacular dome and something else that's amazing, and it may have had something more. So this is like a architectural or rendering, like a proposed drawing, and it seems to indicate that it was rendered from the air. We see these bird's eye views of all the different cities, and it's amazing that they are able to get such accurate scaled detail and representations of all the buildings with even their most interesting details maintained. This seems to be reoccurring on all those city maps, and we may remember that the font that they use on those bird's eye views of all of those cities pre-1890 is the same font for United States currency. Quite interesting. Here's part of the old city hall. I don't know what's happening here. A lot of other structures, massive ones. These are brick. We have the dual cathedral-like. I'm noticing that the so-called natatoriums, these swimming places, Salt Lake City, Sutro Baths, they're all over. They seem to have these as a standard. They seem to have the twin. Now, is that a good place for a current to jump or switch? Is there something happening here? Are we missing the bells? Are we missing the resonant frequencies that make it work? Because if we don't know if your audience is familiar with the term piezoelectric, and I just want to give a brief description of that. So it is the mechanical electrical phenomenon when you stack huge amounts of weight of specific components on top of one another. So very simple. You make a large pile. It is in the shape of a building, and there are columnar objects that allow for the transmission of electricity up or down. What happens under the weight, specifically dealing with quartz, silica, iron-rich materials, is that it literally squeezes electricity contained within itself into a usable state. So this is something that is very researchable, piezoelectric, and I've seen some places that indicate it may be in use. It seems like if there's a huge brick foundation or granite foundation with granite and brick and limestone, which is a fantastic insulator, there's likely energy. especially when there's vaults and underground tunnels that tie into in San Francisco's case, over 1,000 miles of brick-lined tunnels that are really not part of the history of the city. They will say when it was built, but they don't really show it happening, and they don't show all the streets torn up. When I was showing the map of the city, if you click on the street view of San Francisco and the 49ers square miled city, click on street view and you'll see every street light up blue. That's the approximation of the brick sewer system. Same. So we're going to see this incredible statue, which again has the Great Seal of California and Medusa on the shield, still in place. This is the old City Hall. This has since been moved and still visible, and we'll see it in a few minutes. Medusa is on the shield, but many do not know, and I'm going to show tonight, that Medusa seemed to be a very important character within the San Francisco City Hall, as inside of the rotunda, over and over and over again, asp-haired Medusa. So now we're looking at the City Hall that was built in an amazing time. So we're being told that the earthquake, 1906, and everything was wasted. So this is almost done, and it would be the middle of 1915, and everything else seems to be built. I don't see any wreckage. This is the Civic Center Plaza, which the graveyard Yerba Buena underneath, and it looks like they're doing some more landscaping, covering up something. But we have to realize they say they started it in 1913. So it's another 2 year. It's another monster.
I was going to say too, right around the same time the World's Fair was being constructed as well, right?
And that's what makes it very interesting. You're absolutely correct. The World Fair, which is just a mile away, 635 acres, nearly 200 buildings, all also being built at the same time, and this building as well over here. So they seem to have no shortage of materials, no shortage of labor. And they're able to build a structure larger than the national capital. So this is larger than DC, and it has all the trimmings. We're going to look up in here, and there's fasces and caduceus and gods and goddesses and strange figures on the columns, giants, doors for giants. Okay, here we are. These guys are just finishing up their day of work. So this guy dropped off one granite block, and he's ready to travel 120 miles to go get another one. He'll be back in 2 weeks. This guy here, he doesn't even have a horse. Okay,
he's strong. So apparently, he put it on his back.
Right. So the city has just recovered from a destructive earthquake, fire, and intentional dynamiting, and they have power, and they've got streetcars again, and they're building one of the most amazing buildings you'll ever see. And I don't know if
in 2 years,
right? Maybe a show of hands in the chat. Maybe you could let me know if you've been here. One in the chat. Have you been here? I don't think a lot of people have. It's massive. So look at this construction site. So I know you like to analyze the buildings. So down here, below grade, we have doors and windows, and there's still foundation that's not seen. Then over here, those are all buried now. And now we're going into the next floor. That's the next floor.
See that ladder on the corner?
That means they're working. Oh, this one?
Yeah.
This one?
No.
This one. That one.
We have a question. What building is it? It's a newcomer to the.
He's caulking the window. He's on a break now. So this is San Francisco City Hall, and a construction photo, we're being told, must be in mid-1915, but I don't see any usable materials. I don't see anything hanging off any crane. In fact, I don't remember seeing a construction photo with anything on a crane. I don't see workers. I don't see people's means of transportation. I don't know if everyone walked to work. There's no materials. There's one. Here's a top hatter.
I see no cranes on the dome portion either. It's always on the main.
So we wonder, are they just cleaning what's here, or is it really being built? Because this entire thing seems to be boarded off to where you cannot see, which is very unusual in old construction photos to have an obscurity. So interesting. This is all available. I do recommend the opensfhistory.org. They have an amazing archive, and you can search almost anything, and it's pretty immersive. So here is earlier construction, and we've seen these types of things. So we've got the stacking of the exterior facade before the brick core is built.
Sure.
So we know that this is, and we know it's a brick structure, and the granite work, which is extensive, is cladding or a facade or something installed over an existing structural building. But we have donkeys. We do have donkeys down here, and we've got a cart, and it's dirty, and it's overgrown. There's bushes everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
But we do have a street light here. We've got a lamp post. So very interesting photo. And here we are in very likely, maybe it's opening day. So these could be teens, 19s era cars, Model Ts, various wagons. I think there's still some, there's still a horse. There's still horses on the streets.
Good question.
Early. Yes.
So do we think the old city hall was in a different location and this building was here and was dug out? Obviously all speculation, but.
So the previous city hall was on that corner section adjoining Market Street, where this is 3 blocks west in McAllister. So this, if both buildings were standing at the same time, they would be within sight of each other. Now the pictures of the city are amazing. So you look in the background, way back here, and there's something massive on the edge of town. And everything is built once again. So we're being told that if this is 1915 or 16, they've already rebuilt the entire city.
Mm-hmm.
There's no, I don't see any scaffolding on any of the neighboring streets. So keep that in mind. So similar era, another view. So here is an area that I was able to go into down in this little section below, but that's below grade. So this entry goes into the second floor. This is below grade. We were in a basement, and there's said to be other basements as well as multiple connecting tunnels between all the buildings in the plaza. So these are known and disclosed by workers, some large enough to drive through. So here's a panorama said to be after the earthquake. So here we would see the tip of the old City Hall, Market Street, and McAllister. But that was the Yerba Buena Cemetery, this entire space.
Mm-hmm.
We want to remember that. I stumbled across this. This is the commemorative trowel when they laid the cornerstone.
That's pretty nice. Wouldn't you agree?
I know a guy that would want to use that, but it's got ivory. It's got ivory, and it's got some kind of an eagle or something and a shield. Pretty amazing. Trowell brothers were on the scene. So this is a 1974 excavation in Civic Center Plaza. This is SF City Hall. This is the row of geometrically placed trees, but underneath we see a pretty significant foundation and structure. And this is some of the brick sewer system that runs underneath the entire city and some sort of another foundational element. From another view, you can see that the modern day, they just bash in and then tie in some cast iron. Whereas this was an entire system. It's still in use and it's large enough to walk through. And if any in the audience have seen the popular Mike Rowe Dirty Jobs TV series,
yeah,
he goes and he does crazy things. He took a tour in the SF sewer, and he was disgusted, and I think I would be too. But it's a real eye opener because this is all being done by a very small population, and the estimated number of bricks is 1.7 billion. So these bricks have to come from somewhere. So this is going to take us on the boots on the ground portion. And what I'd like to do is let the video roll from the YouTube clip on my channel. And we're going to be inside the City Hall and looking at the fine details.
Wait, before you change that photo, who's that handsome fella in the yellow and black coat?
I was tailing him, and he seemed to have some answers, but he was kind of quiet too, though. Look at that! But look at this gear.
Yeah,
he's got a rig. Yeah, so I am. For those that are interested in cameras and what have you, I am using the Nikon P1000 and 900, and I'm currently using a small handheld gimbal rig, so I'm able to keep the focus a lot better, keep my eyes on what's happening. So we are now outside of the City Hall and about ready to bust in.
so let me just let everyone know this is a video on your channel titled San Francisco City Boots on the Ground. So you can find it on Kairos's channel if you want to get it with the audio and the full length video, among other things on his channel. If you're not familiar, if you're just jumping in, yeah, so check out Kairos's channel.
So I'm narrating on the video. We're going to look at it without audio and try to do a no pause challenge. We're going to try.
Okay. Okay.
But if you have to stop, I understand. If I have to stop, I understand.
Yeah, I'll have to stop. Sorry.
Okay. So there's I'm going to see if I can. I'm looking at different monitors, so I'll switch it up. So we see the detail in the stone segments and the columns. This is hewn granite. So these are cut stones, precision and stacked. Then you'll see those heads or busts at the archways as we walk. You're gonna I don't know if we're gonna look carefully in there, but that could very well be Medusa. Keep your eye out for Medusa.
Wow, it's gorgeous building.
So you notice it's all one color, as it is natural stone, and this is the white granite. Each of those heads are carved white granite, and I can't tell if it's a repeating man and woman or if there's different individuals. There's extreme metalwork in the fencing, but the fluted columns, the extreme detail up in that socket.
Yeah.
So there's different shields and faces and representations.
Mm-hmm.
It's the only areas that have more detail on every surface are going to be the various shrines in India, where literally every single square inch has amazing carvings. This is super interesting, but I know they have removed things, and we're going to see some areas that is obvious towards the front of the building. So I've noticed these large pedestals on left and right of most of the buildings. This one has some sort of a metal sculpture, very, very small. Now these are these giants again.
Wow.
And they are holding up the building, and that's very reminiscent of what we'd see on the Acropolis in Athens. they've got these huge stone, and that's all granite. That's not any type of mold.
Yeah.
Machine marks are evident throughout the property. So notice the size of the door openings compared with the modern day inset entryway for a small person. So this is again an example of 3 large doors that we see so frequent with these types of structures.
Groups of 3, always groups of 3.
So up on the top, you'll see the detail as we look at the railing and the molding. Those little shields, some call them a cartouche. Or, that one there, very interesting. Yes, you notice it actually has the detail intact. Most of them are oval shaped, smooth, no detail, just an obscurity. That one there is intact.
Yeah, very interesting. So ornate, it's unbelievable stuff.
So this is all said. This is all part of the 2-year build. So
I was
there's
just
no bridge. Like, there's no bridges. There's no bridges to the Bay Area yet. It's ferry travel, some limited rail ferry, and then the nearest quarry is 120 miles away.
Looking like they maybe blacked out some windows or openings, some sort of here.
Exactly. So that there, you can see the structural facade blocks, and these are very thick blocks. And it looks to me that whatever was there was removed and just left flat. All 3 of them are the same way.
Yeah.
Up on the top, underneath that pediment section, we have again the group of figures. The goddess in the middle holding a caduceus this time. We've got the symbolism, and then the lesser characters to the left and right. Symbolism up on the top between the columns, those lentil pieces have incredible detail. The entire face of the building from top to bottom is all meticulously carved. Now notice, if you can see it, I don't know if you can, is that the largest you can make it, is that on the left and right of each of those potentially removed designs, those are fascies. So those, here, every single one, and they're inside the building as well. So this, again, a repeating element found on the difficult to explain buildings in the United States and throughout the world. But what is that? Why is that? It's inside the current US Congress. When they meet, they're on the wall. State of the Union, State of the Fascies. It's right there.
And also, I just like to point out the similarities between the statue work we see in the World's Fair photos from San Francisco and then what we're seeing here as well as the architecture. Identical looking. This one still stands and it's made of granite and marble, and those were supposedly made of paper mache, if you will.
Right. We've got burlap and staff, except for the ones they had time for.
That's right.
But when we look at the aerial view, so we were looking back at the map, those grids look just like any World Fair layout. They just decided this just wasn't called a World Fair.
Yeah.
It was, there were several buildings that were additional venues that were like little satellite buildings for the World Fair, but not officially on the grounds. So we're going to go in here and I'm going to bum rush the security. So you might want to skip past that part. But
okay. Do I?
No, I went in.
I'm just thinking two domes in the same area would have been very suspicious as well.
So have a look at this. This is all granite. These are huge.
You can see the seam here.
That's right.
And there.
So for those of you that are geo nerds, trivia guys, so granite is one of the hardest of the stones. It is one of the most difficult to quarry, mine, move, cut, and sculpt due to the hardness. And the internal components are like small pieces of sand, and they're bonded together very firmly, said to be created under intense heat, the so-called igneous rock, lava, possibly a flow. It weighs 180 pounds per cubic foot. So if you imagine approximately the size of a box that a basketball would come in, it's 180 pounds. So many of these slabs we're going to be seeing are 10 feet long, and they're 4 feet tall. And some of these other ones are bigger. And we have to remember, in those photos, they were using donkeys right on the work site. And there was no lifting of any of these big pieces. We're not seeing the fine detail of these guys putting those touches. There's no mistakes, by the way.
I'm so blown away by the way this sort of just drips into these rounded over stone sections here, and you don't even know where the seam is at this point in here. It's unbelievable.
And that's his toga.
Yeah, just flowing toga made of granite. All right.
So in we go, and I got to find a way to get in here. So they were very nice, and I asked them where I could and couldn't go, and how late they were open, and they let me. I told them I was doing a video tour. So a little bit about this venue now. So there are plenty of government offices, and it's a very popular place to get married, and they do have a fee, and there's weddings all day, every day. I don't know how many weddings were going on in different halls, different spaces, very popular inside the building, outside the building, on the front steps. So I'm just about through the security. And you're welcome to move it forward if you want. I'm almost ready to just kind of get a sense of what this place is. So I just came out of the lobby, and this is the main opening underneath the entire rotunda, and I'm looking at it for the first time, and I'm seeing nothing but master craftsmanship on every surface.
My God.
Every surface, there was somebody here that, there's nobody better. They had the best guy for everything. There's
and
no
quick.
mistake. There's very fast. So that's all granite underneath the change of color. So you've got the two-tone. That's all stone. It's all stone. So we're going to be able to see some of the extreme details of the designs, and especially up underneath that. So here's each one of these columns inside, and we'll zoom in soon, but I want everyone to see it now. Just back up 1 second to where you can see those columns, please, if you would. Just a hair.
We'll go forward again.
Yeah.
We'll see it one more time.
So what we're going to be looking for is you're going to see the face of Medusa between every other column. So when you peek up there, we're going to let it look up underneath the actual rotunda itself. Now there's several different balconies and walking areas. We were not able to get up in there. So here's the main. So pause it right there. So if you notice, if you move use your mouse pointer between the center, the very center of the lowest column, if you go straight down, that one, that's Medusa. Then skip a column, and that is, and then that is. Those are all Medusa. So we need to get to the bottom of who was in charge of this design that thought this was important, because that's first of all, it's a lot of work, and that'd be very expensive. And again, they're all perfect. And Medusa is on the California State Shield, the Great Seal. So it was like being in one of the most magnificent palaces that you can imagine. So they were having a they're having a wedding reception over here.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody paid big bucks to use this huge hall. Notice all the floor is very shiny and very flat. You see that reflection? Not a ripple.
Oh, yeah.
It's marble.
Wow.
It's all inlaid marble. Then we have this very large stairway with all the ornate metal. Then you can start to see the individual features and columns and arches for each level. So it is octagonal in its nature. So that is going to create repeating angles, and each of those start points, right? I said this is what they needed, right? This is so it's 1913, and they're thinking, hey, let's really make this town. Let's make this town special.
If I were in the construction industry and during those years, I would much rather have worked on something I knew was going to stand, not just the lath and plaster structures of the World's Fair. If I had to choose between one of the, I'd much rather have worked on the one that they made out of stone that looked exactly like the World's Fair structures.
I'd like to see some construction photos of these interiors underway.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's asking too much. So a lot of the interior has been remodeled over the years for the city of San Francisco. So there's a lot of offices, a lot of rooms. But you notice the height of the ceilings. It's maybe 15 feet tall, possibly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
On every floor. So there's
maybe more.
Very tall. So all the walls interior, for the most part, I'll see if I can spot an area where it's not. That's all natural stone surfaces. So those are huge cut stone blocks from a non-local quarry that fit together to create architecture that's never mimicked today. We're not seeing this style of building being attempted. So you notice that each of those, this maybe would be termed a bas relief interior arch. So somehow they've managed to render all of the design possibly in plaster. Mm-hmm. Some of it is stone. It's very difficult to determine such high quality and not failing. Mm-hmm. Don't see evidence of any attempted repairs on the fine surfaces. There are repairs throughout the building that I think I'd be embarrassed to let the public see. Just like at the Palace of Fine Arts, you know, they just smear something on.
Yeah. Wow.
So we have the helmets and the shields and the torch and likely a acanthus plant, lion head, and then we have this grand representation, seafaring, a man and a woman of appears to be equal standing and footing, so good circumstances. But look at the design. And how about, you notice at the bottom of the shield, it looks like either that so-called green man or some sort of a cat or nothing. But I think they were pretty deliberate in their carving.
You'd have to be to put all that in there. It's not just random.
So we go up and are looking down into these spaces, but we've seen that artichoke representation. So the swastikas are here.
Oh yeah.
Inside of their, so they're not afraid to use that and keep that. So we're looking down on this amazing geometry of an inlaid dual stone marble floor. So two different types of marble.
There. Just to interject too, for those that don't know, the Palace of Fine Arts has a similar design with the swastika. Is that correct?
It is, and we're actually finding that the more you look, it's on many buildings, and it's very common. So these huge sculpted artichokes, these are either amazing cast stone balusters, or it's possible that it is sculpted stone. Many places have literally sculpted stone. So we're one floor above the main entry hall, and then it's floor to ceiling marble slab. And then we have these amazing antique elevators with the dial indicators between floors. Just looking at, and then of course, the higher you go, it's never ending. Weren't able to ride this one, I don't think. So that's a fasces on the plate around that frame. It was the same bound rods.
Look at the stonework. So smooth.
So
like
go ahead.
Sorry, the inlays, the way that they have the different layers to make it look like, a door trim or a feature, but they seem to be made of the same material, same stone, right? They've got these notches.
Many times, and sometimes inside corners, outside corners with stone routing profile marks intact. So this was not only a tool for sculpting, it was a tool for routing. It would create a profile on a single pass. So all marble floors just throughout the entire building, an incredible palace, just thousands and thousands of square feet.
2 years.
Very, in 2 years, right? And incredible woodworking, even inside here. So we're going to go up even further. So it's still a higher space with the suspended chain, and we're going to look down through multiple floors. So incredible details. Notice every surface. Now, this may have been maybe one of the most breathtaking moments. Up here, kind of ignoring the velvet rope a little bit. Okay, a lot. Ignoring it a ton. So these are those giant windows that I had shown from the Google aerial photos from the inside of the courtyard. So on each side, giant sculpted urns.
It's so okay, here, I'll play it. It's so seamless. It's so seamless. Like, you can't see any seams in the way that they put these things together.
So up we go, and we have the inlaid geometry on the inside of the dome. That is seen all throughout the world. Some of it very, very heat damaged, but still partially visible. This seems to be across all areas of construction. They are using the style. The tuned interior arches to better make use of frequency. It was a very interesting day. There was a cellist and violinist playing, and they were not using an amplification, and they filled the entire building with very good and very strong sound. Sounded amazing. Don't know if you can turn the sound on or not. You might be able to hear.
I'll try. They're playing right now.
Maybe. You can hear the crowd. It's Medusa, by the way.
I can make out the vibe. There we go.
Cashy's behind.
Cashews.
Medusa.
That looks like Medusa.
Yeah.
Hate to tell you. Medusa, fascies, acanthus. All in one little package.
I had a quick question. When was this built? Why don't we go over it one more time?
So said to be built in 1913, finished in 1915, as well as the entire city of San Francisco and the Pan-Pacific International Exhibition, all rebuilt after the earthquake. So this, another 2-year.
Miraculous.
I don't know that they could finish the interior surfaces in 2 years. So look at the detail of each of these repeating designs.
I'd love to know what that's made of. It's so unified in its color and very difficult to access as well for maintenance.
The lower sculptures are stone, and it would be, I wouldn't be surprised. How about this one?
Mm-hmm.
Mercury's helmet, caduceus. It's crazy.
Go back.
So at the time this was built, that was important to somebody. Mm-hmm. It's not just, they weren't just bored. It wasn't a decoration. They, you know, why are there so many representations of Roman gods all throughout these buildings? Why do they have them on there? That's not what we're told this was, and it was cowboys. It was Wild West. So this is very high. So this is, when we zoom out, we'll try to get an idea of how high, but I'm guessing probably 100 feet. So who do you think that might be? Mercury?
That's what yeah.
But he's got a very serious sword. Interesting wreath over a helmet. Some sort of a hero.
Look at how he sticks right out too. You can see that his knee is rounded in behind there. And the head as well. Like it's coming right out of the surface of the wall. Right.
You're seeing the shadow.
Mm-hmm.
It is very dimensional.
Remarkable. And even all this too, like I don't see seams. Like this is trim work, whatever it might be made of. I'm looking for, you know, little seams. And this is all one piece. And I don't know where this one starts and then over here begins. You know, I just don't see any lines of separation. Incredible. Even when you get that close, I can't see any lines of separation. There you go. Look at that. Ooh. Amazing.
Yeah. But notice this, notice the amount of 7 foot plus marble slabs that make up these walls.
Yeah.
Every one of those panels is a marble slab, and that's white Carrara, and that's not from anywhere around here. It's mainly Greece and Italy. It's noted as one of the least expensive, but it's still very hard to work with. So look at these floors and how amazing they are. So we're going into the other side where I crossed that that velvet rope, and these guys are having their wedding photos, and I'm about ready to do something. And the photo bomb. It's like, what is that guy doing? So this is so they do have steam. They have steam here, but notice they cannot keep up with the water damage.
Mm-hmm.
Got a leak here, and those guys paid a fortune, and they can't even keep the walls nice. So I'm not sure what happened here, but that gives us a clue as to what the material may be made of. So if it is some sort of a mold, I would say combable grade gypsum. So you use some sort of a tool that has the profile of what you'd like to have left behind, and then you would have to tool that in a straight line and allow it to cure. But that would be very difficult too. It's a lot of talk, but that would be very, very difficult to do.
I've seen that, and there's slight waivers because the hand can only stay straight for so long. You know what I mean?
So this is all overhead work, and this would require some of the most complicated scaffolding that you've ever seen. You have to be less than an arm's reach from the work in order to be productive. Right, so possible polymer. So that the name, the word polymer is a very interesting one. It can essentially mean anything that's assembled of many materials. We most know it as cements and grouts and caulkings, elastomerics, cement, plaster, whatever you want. Modern grouts have bended polymers in them now to make them stickier and more flexible. All polymer. Geopolymer, it would be made of, mostly sand. Sand is probably the most common building material ever. Sand. So here you can see the bricks up inside the archway of the window. So that's the inside of the courtyard. So we can verify that this is a brick core with iron. I believe the Wikipedia entry on this building was something like 7,200 tons of iron or something. But I'm thinking that's probably an underestimate again.
Yeah.
So you see there's more staining. So these guys were able to build these buildings immediately, but the modern day inhabitants cannot maintain them. Can't maintain them. So I have a tendency to knock on the walls all the time wherever I'm walking around, and if it's hollow, it's a facade. If it's solid, it's a large core. So some sort of, if it's over plywood or gypsum or something else, you'll hear the hollow wall. It's just decorated. If it's solid, there's a strong core behind it, or it's solid stone. So look at all this iron and brass and marble going down into this world. So notice all those balloons and craziness. They were staging that area all day. Somebody went all out, and they had the most outrageous decorations.
Well, look at that.
I think I saw Mark from Our Melted Reality in the chat a second ago. Hope you're doing great.
Yeah, Mark's in here.
So look at that scroll work on the inside of the round. So who had time for that?
It's unbelievable.
And the geometry is perfect. So each of the diagonal details and features, they repeat correctly. So then when it comes back to itself, it connects correctly. And we see this happening all throughout. I don't know if that's something that a typical paper pen architect would be able to conceive of. I don't know if he had a mastery of the geometry.
No.
This is something that would need AI assistance to put together some numbers. And there's no mistakes, and you don't get a second chance.
No. Seamless. Again, seamless.
So I'm noticing this throughout the older buildings. I'm going to zoom, I think I zoom into this engraving. They were using the letter V as we know it as the letter U regularly. That's very Latin and Roman. It's not Western. Not Western. Old buildings only. But it gives us a clue. So as we look at some of these slabs, I'll see if I can point one out. They're what's referred to as the one that's in front of me on that wall. Pause it right there. So in the trades, that's referred to as a book-ended slab. So you can see that if you fold it on itself, the grain design will make contact. So that was quarried from exactly the same piece of the boulder. And as we walk down the hallway, go ahead and let it roll, you're going to find that these are select. So these are not just some random junk. These are matching, and they're very thick. So these slabs are very difficult to handle. Today they need a special grasping crane that clenches it from the top, and you lift it with a forklift. They weigh many thousand pounds. See that book ended right there? See the match grain. Yeah, that was on one side, was on the other side of the saw blade.
Yep.
From the so-called mother stone. So I just wanted to throw in the little 746 reference there for all those people that are in the know. So here's the brass railing. We're going down, so we have tremendous marble down and down and down. We will be in the basement briefly. We got a little, I kind of snuck in through some at the door. So cutting marble and granite slabs. This is for the audience. Modern day, they use a large bulldozer to load it into a hydraulic powered, water cooled, multi-bladed reciprocating gang saw. So if you can imagine 20 blades side by side, each cutting continually, so that when it cuts top to bottom, you have a deck of cards made of granite. What's the time period to cut a slab using modern methods?
Oh,
How many
anybody
hours?
want to throw it in the chat if you have any guess? Don't Google it.
How many hours? So that's a representation of a canthus on the top of all of the columns.
Go back.
They're combining the straight and the round throughout. So notice it's all natural stone. That's all sculpted.
We got 8 hours as a guess. Half hour, 2 hours.
No, it's more than a day. It's more than one day. But that's still not the right answer. It's more than 2 days. This is in a modern machine running nonstop. Just sawing, sawing, sawing. Granite, diamond blades, water cooled. It's a 3-day. It's a 3-dayer. So each of those big granite slabs, marble slabs you see, wasn't in a modern quarry. They didn't have that tool. They were still, I saw wagons in the yard. So somebody was doing things. So this is more magnificent sculpture. It looks like Father Time over there with his little hourglass, maybe, right?
Yeah.
Hourglass, or he's got the magic gourd.
Hourglass is a good guess, yeah. I was going to say, too, that sounds like a hell of a lot of water, Kairos, to cut all that stone as well for 3 days running.
It is. A lot of it's recirculating, but yeah, without it, the blade will melt. So here we have the representation of the letter V as we know it, repeatedly being used in the place of the letter U. And there's fasces on both ends and the Liberty cap.
I'm gonna read it if you don't mind.
See if it'll zoom in. I may get closer for you.
Okay. San Francisco, oh glorious city of ours, hearts that hast been tried and not found, wanting, oh boy,
Go.
thou
Yep.
with like spirit to make the future thine. Oh, you're right.
I
Yeah,
believe
you
they
did.
have. So this is the that's the Liberty Cap, which is a very interesting research in itself. That if you've ever heard of the Liberty silver dollar, it has a character wearing that cap. I think the so it's got the incorrect Roman numeral 4.
Mm-hmm.
So we have eagle and trident, some sort of a, but all the detail, this isn't, you can't see this from the ground. No way. There's nobody. The foreman would have come in and the guy's like, I finished it. And he's like, I'm gonna have to take your word for it. Because I can't see crap.
I ain't going up there. The foreman says, look at this. This is like some sort of ribbon out of stone.
Yeah.
Wow.
But, I mean, they could.
Wow. How many times did they screw that up?
Right.
So, go ahead.
I broke it again. I broke it again.
Yeah, that's okay. We have tons in the yard here. Keep going until you get it right. Mm-hmm.
So octagonal flower design in the middle, another pine cone, some sort of a fleur-de-lis lance or a sword or a spear. So go ahead and stop right there for just 1 second. Go ahead and flip on the sound and check these two out.
Okay, here we go.
So these two are filling the entire building. I met the violinist outside.
And you are you play the tuba?
Trombone.
Okay.
Yeah, that was it. Oh well.
Right. There's a lot of you can hear a lot of the echoing of the structure itself.
You can hear everyone talking and a lot of bantering and
like they're right next to you.
There's you can kind of hear that high pitch, that just kind of an air about the place. It rings. It's always echoing and cancellation of echoes at all times. So I know a lot of your work, you're looking at buildings, city halls, and a lot of them are no longer standing. It can be a little frustrating sometimes to get a sense of what the interiors were like. And I'm thinking that a lot of the ones that you're showing us would have to have had interiors that were comparable, yeah?
I would imagine so. A large reason for why they got rid of them, I would think they were just too much for the narrative, is my guess.
I know a lot of the large train stations that have been torn down, we've seen the interiors, and it looks like whoever was large enough to use this building was using that one too.
Yeah, it's amazing how it's pretty much everywhere. I could throw a dart at a map on the wall and cover that town, and I'm going to find something, a couple things at least, that will make you really scratch your head.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people have not done research on the concept of giants or whether or not there might have been, and so they do not want to hear that. It makes them laugh, or they think of a fairy tale or some sort of a children's story. But we have to ask ourselves, why do we build doors the size that we do? And we look at the doors in our home, and I'm thinking everybody's door, you can touch the top of the door with your hand when you go under, unless you're very short. Normal
with your head sometimes.
Some guys have to duck. A couple of guys have to duck. But for the most part, the size of the door corresponds to the size of the people. It's completely senseless to build building after building after building because it's so much work. It's so expensive and it's so unnecessary. And then these locations separated by thousands of miles, and the doors are huge everywhere you go. And every little stick town was in the gold country just recently. Small town called Columbia, California. And there's doors for giants with brick buildings and half-buried cathedral. It's like it's always the same story.
Same story, yeah. Wow, the detail is breathtaking.
So everywhere you see the statues and the incredible ironwork. So this is just it's just a railing. And look at the look at what you get when you go to a public space like a mall or somewhere, hospital, and you see the railing today. Nothing to take note of.
No.
Usually dirty.
Yeah.
So I'm on the opposite side now, looking back, and so why would they ever build a building like this as a city hall? That's maybe a question I would have. For what purpose? And then city after city after city, and these, look at those fasces on left and top and bottom. And there's something faint.
Yeah, it's very faint.
Difficult to make out. I might go
Urn
closer.
of some sort, maybe. Maybe a figure, maybe a head and an arm here. Not sure.
I think if you were to turn it 90 degrees left, I believe it's an urn. I think that's the base, and maybe the handles, maybe like a base. And that would put the fatty blades on the facing up. So now we're going to see Medusa again. So inside of each column, you've got these 6 petaled flowers, and then you've got these very elaborate banners with Medusa, and then inside that appears to be some sort of a shell, like a scallop shell. Yeah. So here's some stills. But compared to that, to the door, what is that, 4 times the size of the large? Those are big men.
I hope you got paid for filming their wedding, taking wedding photos. You could easily go as just a wedding photographer. You probably
just wear a suit and tell them I'm running a few minutes behind.
That's right.
Where's the Havelgabus wedding?
Yeah.
So notice that every surface has spectacular symmetrical detail. Very balanced, very appealing, well laid out. And that's design sense, but it's a little busy. A little bit busy.
Yeah. It's very busy and seamless once again. You cannot make out even the faintest of seam. Yeah.
Notice that maybe one more, that one. Yeah, so notice the round S with the slash through it on the left side. That really resembles an early US dollar sign. But I think it's actually an SF for San Francisco.
Yeah, okay. I can see that.
But it also reminds me of, because this is the right time period, the 1913. This is like, we're going, it's Jekyll Island season.
Interesting. Good old Woodrow.
So these top hatters were running around everywhere, and apparently there was just all the craftsmen were incredible. There's no disasters here except in the maintenance. That's where they fall flat, or remodels or additions. I believe running water was added. I think it was added.
It's a heck of a retrofit.
So that's inside this courtyard.
Mm-hmm.
Brick back there.
That's that same, yeah.
Right.
Ooh, I like that. This is a good example here too. Just the level of detail is off the charts. This is what do we call that? Concave or convex?
So that is it's not it's okay. So that's the inside of a dome, but it's but it's not a semi. It's a half of it. It's a quarter. It's a quarter concave dome with interlocking, multi-shaped polygons. You've got square, you've got hexagon, maybe a pentagon in there, but they all is coming together. And who's that character in the middle?
Mm-hmm.
Who's that guy?
Shakespeare? I don't know.
And then there's some sort of a magic lamp in the middle.
Yeah, and you got these lion creatures poking their heads up completely off the surface of what's below them, the head. You can see.
I think you have just exposed the hidden griffin. Those look like wings.
Here.
Could very well be.
Interesting. I can't get over the level of detail trying to even fathom putting something like this together, and only having such a tight deadline to get it done. Right. And you can relate to that too, I'm sure. If you're under pressure to get a job done, Kairos, like there's a hard deadline and you know it's going to be tight, how do you feel about your work day? You know?
Probably not going to get as much done as I'd like to. It gets even worse.
If you didn't have that pressure, it would actually... And how many mistakes do you make under that kind of pressure?
That's when problems start happening, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is unforgiving, and the weight of the materials is just not to be believed. I mean, just carrying those tiles that make up the entire floor in there. See if you can give these guys another shot. We got these. Keep building these guys up.
Here we go.
Is that something?
Must be very satisfying playing in a place like that.
I would love to. So now I'm down. I think I'm in the basement. I'm underground somewhere. So this is probably the basement, but of course there is going to be a sub basement, and there are tunnels and connection points, and it's built on top of that cemetery.
Yeah.
So we're underneath the entire mass of all that weight. So the entire weight of this entire structure is now sitting firmly on some sort of a foundation, and that's where the concept of the piezoelectricity comes into play. That's the right type of material: granite and iron-rich bricks, silica-laden mortar. We don't understand how it works, but it's not nothing. It's not just decoration.
Yeah.
It would be, and with the same components. So here you see the incredible spire, and it may or may not be gold. Probably it may have been, or it may still be. I don't know that. That looks like copper on the spire. Golden fasces
Mm-hmm. Some heads here. And just one more time, we're looking at the San Francisco City Hall, if anyone's just jumping in.
This is the current San Francisco City Hall, the one that was built between 1913 and 15, built on San Francisco's oldest abandoned bodies not all removed cemetery. So each one of those sections has has that huge golden relief around the segmented dome, and then inside is where we saw the Medusas.
Yeah. Built in 2 years, I'll add as well.
So again, it's 42 feet taller than the state capitol, the nation's capital in Washington, D.C. Very tall dome, could very easily pass for any state capital, but this is San Francisco City Hall, built for the people of 1915 using donkeys.
Those look like those urns. I can't tell from here, but the urns that we saw inside, possibly all around
There's
here.
similar urns on top of the pedestaled columns.
Mm-hmm. Very patinate. Put that gold. Wow.
So until the modern publicly available zoom lens camera, these are very difficult to make out because it's so tall.
Mm-hmm.
Able to see the the basic shape, but there's a lot going on there.
Yeah.
I think I might. So here's a contemporary building that there's an exhibition auditorium. So that was, I had mentioned, one of the satellite offerings from the main fair across town.
Yeah.
The Tamalpais Railroad was also considered another offering. So looking at the Civic Center Plaza, looking back, you can see the similarities from the earlier historical photos. But we're going to see the these sycamore trees, and they're all aligned, and it's very noteworthy. I've mainly been keeping my eye on the use of the eucalyptus trees, which are on the El Camino Real, so the entire California coast, some say as far as possibly Guatemala, is lined with these special trees. So look at the detail up in this section that no one can see. Got some kind of a cow back there, some sort of a goddess or authority.
Pointing to the nipple, that's interesting.
Right.
And also you can see the seams here. Like these are different pieces that blend so well with each other.
That would be, imagine carving granite into individual pieces that you're going to fit together later. Or do you put it up in place? Yeah.
Well, why are the eucalyptus trees special? Lisa says they line my street.
So I don't know where you're located, but the eucalyptus trees line the El Camino Real of California. They're planted between the various cathedrals, but they're also planted in specific geometric shapes. So if you look from the Google map and you start to look at them, they are in very straight lines. They make very direct angular turns continuing the route. Many times you'll find a bunch of eucalyptus trees right where the main highway makes a turn, and then you'll be on a very straight line until it makes another kink, and sure enough, there's those waypoint eucalyptus trees. Very easy to navigate without use of a map or anything. You just connect the dots. But the fact that they're non-native, so these are said to have been from Australia. So it's a very strange story, and there's millions of them here. So they cannot keep the birds out, but they built this place. So look at this detail again in the relief. So it looks like a canthus in the middle. There, obviously, the one in authority is this goddess, and there's some sort of, again, there's that representation, possibly the same one that was on the inside of the rotunda, the vase. That might be it again, maybe.
Yeah.
And then you've got subservient ones. Maybe these are the top hatters. These guys, okay, we're getting ready to turn you loose. We don't know. Who knows? This guy's playing a horn.
Wow.
But it's extreme artwork. It's not cartoonish. It's very realistic.
Mm-hmm.
Very good representation. So I'm walking towards, this is United Nations Plaza, and there's huge buildings on both sides that are similar era and similar style construction with the large modular granite blocks. There's connecting tunnels. There's partially buried windows underground. So this statue was the one that was near the original City Hall, and then they said they moved it, and this is the current location. 1890s type of a statue, a lot of bronze, a lot of stone. If I zoom into the shield on the figures on the top, we're going to see that I believe that is the state shield again with Medusa. I seem to remember that. Hey, what do I win? So Eureka. Eureka. Trivia in the chat. What is the meaning of Eureka? It's California's state motto. It's on the Great Seal. Eureka. So this this Medusa is showing up over and over as being relevant.
Hooray. I've struck gold.
You're
Found
close.
it.
That's the one. So
Found
it means, yeah, that's what the founders would yell out. Eureka! Yeah, I found it. I founded it. Finders, keeper, people.
Interesting.
Yeah, right on that. Right on there. It's like, guess what? We found it. A lot of these buildings are. That's Fort Point back there.
Yeah.
A castle.
Mm.
And that's the sun sets there. That's right where it sets.
Yeah.
Golden Gate, straight. There's some other interesting statues. This one.
Mesopotamian, Ashurbanipal?
Close.
Maybe?
It's the guy was epic. That's your hint.
Assyria. Oh, I'm supposed to guess. Is Alexander the Great?
No, he's clinging onto a tiger. I mean, a lion.
I don't know. Is this biblical, historical?
Legendary.
Hercules?
I believe it's Gilgamesh.
Gilgamesh. Okay.
It is. He's a full-blown Assyrian.
Interesting.
He's holding his cuneiform tablets, and he's got a lion underneath his arm.
Yeah.
So more doors for giants and stacked super geometry in the form of granite. I think that was cut. Gilgamesh was ripped. So here's there's these faces, and on the other buildings nearby are lions, and they're everywhere, and it's amazing detail. Whatever it would be made out of would be amazing detail. I've seen a few buildings that have very convincing faux granite in the form of glazed terracotta, which is also very complicated. Very difficult to work that out. So we're looking, you can see the distance. So we would be standing now on the location of the demolished original City Hall, and absolutely on top of the cemetery. So I will tell you, was walking through here on the way to that truth. So you see that, remember that from the from the Google.
Oh yeah.
So here's the United Nations. Got their interesting map.
Yeah.
So underneath all of this is red brick sewer, and there's manholes located throughout. But I took a very short walk up Market Street towards the ferry building, and that's where this leads us. I'm going to walk past some old world buildings and looking at the streets and just what the current condition of the city is. This was very heavily patrolled. So there were a lot of officers, very unusual. As soon as we get across the street and start walking, you can see the one of the taller skyscrapers there in the distance. The feel of the neighborhood was very unpleasant. I felt threatened, nervous. I was kind of concerned. I felt like I felt maybe I should be concerned about my safety, and I don't know why. It got a little 746 action right here.
Yeah.
For you players. So I made a quick U-turn. Went a little ways, and the more steps I took, the worse it felt. I felt like I just needed to turn around, and the energy was very unpleasant. Extra bonus. So I think this would probably be a great place to stop this adventure.
Okay.
For those that would like to watch the complete, it's on my channel, and I am doing some narration. Enjoyable time in San Francisco. Any that are considering a trip to San Francisco, suggest you go. Don't get sucked into the tourist traps. Go find the old world goodies. Really fun. I've got one last item I'd like to show, and this is from a familiar location. I think I've got it. Do I have it there for you? And
oh yeah, is this one here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is just a short clip from my drone trip to Sutro Baths, Sutro Bluff and Heights, and this is the current cliff house. But I've been here on many of the video trips, which are on the channel, walking into this tunnel, walking along the shore into this tunnel, going around this construction, coming down the top. On top of this ledge is where there's the T-car bricks are still installed up here, which have no business being in San Francisco. They're from Ireland and Scotland, from the 1800s. So this is the old baths, and there used to be a seawall that went across here. Now, walking down here at low tide, this is an entrance to a sea cave. That's a sea cave. So is that. So is that. And you can drop in through the top and pop out the bottom. And then around this side, there may be more sea caves. And then around this other side, there's a deep cut sea cave that terminates in a wall of brick and concrete that comes out of this cave. Just to kind of show you where we're located. But up in this section here, there are currently red bricks intermingled all throughout here. All throughout. Red bricks. And of course, if you've seen the Melted Brick Avalanche series, you already know that this entire bluff. So I'll let it play for you now. So the cliff house has undergone a lot of changes, but what seems to be constant is the footprint. And that building, I'm not 100% sure of its true history. Down in the bottom on the tip there is what they call that camera obscura.
Mhm.
So this is Point Lobos Drive in San Francisco. And the address that you're going to want is 1059. And that will put you right at that street sign. And you'll be able to look up this hill and see that it's all made of constructed red brick and mortar. But from this higher vantage mid-screen, you can see large blocks. And then up on top, you see the castellated feature. I'm going to stop it right here real quick. Let's see if I can do it. Right here is where I had climbed down over the top, and there's some sort of like a turret or an old bunker, but it's very melted looking. There was graffiti here that said Starfort, and there was also graffiti here that said Starfort. That's been covered. This is the section of the fence when I went over that wall, went over the fence and went down. I went down here, and down into here. I saw some guys while I was over this area. They were climbing down out of here. They came all the way down. But this is made of red brick and granite, and it looks like certain portions are red brick turning into granite. And it's one of the steepest, most outrageous stairways that you'll see. This is the gunite applied section.
Mm-hmm.
So keep your eye on this and look for features that look like there might be something man-made back there. So each of these segments is just a remnant of a constructed brick structure. Some of them have swollen and turned into what appears with yellow sandstone, but with still a red crust on the exterior and mortar between the blobs. So this is right at Ocean Beach on the coast, right at San Francisco, right within sight of Golden Gate Park. We'll be able to see the windmills and the size of Golden Gate Park, where San Francisco's first World Fair had taken place. So this was, you look back at some of the older pictures of Sutro Heights, this was a colossal super mansion that looked like a castle. And the grounds had statues and fountains, and very interesting. The shape of the land, it's very high up. I wanted to mention this current condition of San Francisco's beach. So this is the top of a miles-long running concrete seawall. But you'll notice that the ocean is about here right now. There's about 30 feet of sand that has accumulated seasonally since the 70s. And there's an incredible superstructure that goes down the base of this seawall, well below the sand. Very amazing. But all that sand has accumulated. Other times, certain portions of the beach will recede. So here's the windmill. There's a windmill here and windmill here. So these were part of the greater fair and were said to be part of a water pumping system that was in operation. So very interesting. If you've heard about Playland at the beach, which was what was here in the late 1800s, has now been replaced with our modern construction. Notice how this doesn't hold a candle to anything we've seen. Mm-hmm. That's temporary construction right there. That's all temporary. You get one cow kicking over a candle, and that neighborhood is done for.
It's funny because I found an article. I put the Cliff House in my latest book on demolished buildings. I found an article. Is it the Herald, San Francisco Herald? Is that their paper there, or Chronicle? I'm not sure.
Chronicle and Examiner.
And then the way they worded it after the Cliff House was demolished was like good riddance was basically the gist of the way they had worded it.
Yeah, it sat abandoned for quite a long time, and apparently it may have been some sort of an insurance arson event, but it was pretty much unused when it happened. But you notice in that, so I've got the footage still here. So all of these steps continue around, and they're made of very poor condition rock that appears to have experienced high heat. Then we have the castellated feature. This concrete has been added to something else, as has this concrete plug right here, which would have been a way in. Around the corner on the stone wall is a blocked up archway that also goes into the structure. So here you can get an idea of how steep that is. So this, I was climbing down here. I don't recommend it. I'm gonna bring a rope, but this is these are all segments of brick where whatever happened, the bricks between have melted away. You can see the flow channels.
Yep.
And in person, Google Street View, Point Lobos Drive, 1059. Make sure you're right at that speed sign right here next to my mouse pointer, and you'll see nothing but red bricks here. And if you're in person, climb up here with your rock hammer and extract a T-car brick for yourself.
Am I correct in saying that there used to be a lot of statues on the top of this as well?
Yes.
Okay, I've seen those photos. Yeah.
Doesn't this look like some kind of a platform there?
Mm-hmm.
So this is where things get very interesting. This has the appearance of coming out and coming out.
Mm-hmm.
This wall continues at a very predictable plane until here. Then it changes. This goes to, the foundation of this wall has not been seen. I have not seen a photo, and I've never been here when the sand is gone, but it goes considerably further down. Getting inside between these archways is difficult and potentially dangerous. It seems to be infested with campers, and there's a lot of garbage, and there's a lot of graffiti, and it's very poor lighting and very smelly. But if you look through the mesh, there appears to be masonry and what have you back there, but I've not been in to really get a good look. I'm more interested in these sea caves. So I think that does it for me. I have worn myself out again.
No, that was a lot to take in, actually. I hope everyone watching it enjoyed this thorough tour. Filled with all sorts of interesting commentary and knowledgeable commentary. So I love that you bring that to the table, Kairos, and it's a real treat to be able to see the fruits of your labor, I suppose.
So if you remember from the beginning when I had shown that the Farallon Islands were 27 miles from this location, this is where I had taken the camera shot out. But from inside this sea cave, you can see them when it's clear. See right now how hazy it is and terrible?
Mm-hmm.
So the typical San Francisco fog. It's subject to change at any time. It could clear up in 30 minutes, be open for just a few minutes, and then back to fog. But it is a great vantage point to see something of such a great distance across the water.
Mm-hmm.
Very enjoyable. 27 miles.
Wow.
If anyone has any questions about the presentation or my opinion on some other weird thing, I might entertain them.
Okay, fire away if you have anything for Kairos before we sign off. I guess we won't get. We should save the cemeteries for another time, I suppose.
I think so. I might have to go in. So I told my mom I was going to show her this this present she got for me. So it's a red brick. It's a red brick. A red brick that commemorates my YouTube channel from Mom.
Do you feel like this the awareness of all of this is gaining traction in any way? That's my question to you.
I do. I think there's a lot of people that are asking questions that that probably start trying to do a little mocking, but then they realize that, you know, it's not funny and you still can't answer the questions. So when we start showing them, you know, these amazing cities and grid layouts and early time periods, tiny populations followed by giant populations, just a small discussion on local history. Most people don't have a working knowledge of their own hometown or the town they currently live in, but sometimes they're interested. You know, you ask out in public and you ask them about this building. What do you think of this building? And then you ask them about, hey, what do you think about the size of this piece of granite over here? And people might think that's pretty weird, but when you realize that it was put in place before they had power tools, then it's a little different. People that are thinking, asking questions, yeah, they'll see what's happening and they'll realize this leads to the fact that our history cannot be trusted and this narrative has been inserted to deceive us, and we're living a style of life that doesn't lend itself to a lot of free time. And that's what they want. You know, you work lots and don't ask questions. So that's I don't think people in their heart, you know, that's not really what they want. They don't want that.
No.
So if they start to realize, hey, wait a minute, maybe somebody's pulling the woolly.
It's an uncomfortable realization for a lot of people who haven't faced it before. It takes a little bit of tempering to get comfortable with a lot of this, I think.
And then there's about 100 different subjects that come along with this too, by the way.
Yeah.
So they starts unraveling.
Okay, another question. Do you know Michelle Gibson's work?
Yes, very, very much so. Great researcher. Well thought out presentations. I look at her. She's posting her research diary, so to speak. I do appreciate the concept of the ley lines. I'm seeing that buildings are built with similar orientations, similar spacings, similar name streets. And we've seen a lot of the, John Levi has alerted us to a lot of these phantom grid lines out in the middle of nowhere. So, and then it brings us to the Nazca lines, you know, the ultimate ley lines. But yeah, absolutely seen her work. Good work.
Another question from Sandra Marr. Ever notice a land off the coast, sort of north? A land. I think she's talking about the region you were just showing, possibly. I don't know.
Possibly Point Reyes Station. Point Reyes. There's also the Farallones, Angel Island, Alcatraz Island.
Another question about why Medusa. Why do you think Medusa?
Some have speculated that there was some sort of an event that caused mass petrification of large numbers of people, and they refer it as Medusa effect. So rapid petrification. A lot of fossils that are being found are supposedly millions of years, yet they are still, you know, those animals still live. So you wonder. Some of these animals have been flash frozen, piled up together in a large region as if swept away, and when thawed out, there's still food in their mouth. Don't know. Or it could be a weapon, tribute to a weapon. But I don't think Medusa is considered to be a role model. I saw Clash of the Titans. That was pretty crazy.
Which one? Both?
The first one was better.
Yeah, the original.
The second was junk. Oh, hey, by the way, I've got to plug a movie. So I've been trying to watch this movie since it first came out. So the first time I saw it was at a drive-in, and I fell asleep in the middle of the movie and like woke up in the middle of the next movie. And then I tried to watch it on a rental or something like this, and finally watched it on YouTube, and that's Big Trouble in Little China.
I love that movie.
Right. I am like, how did I not stay awake? This thing was amazing. But
Is that San Fran?
All of it, and it just shows endless underground. They go down and all this construction and stuff. And whether or not it's really underground, but it does allude to the fact that there's an underground.
Yeah. Interesting.
Under Chinatown, which is, there's a lot of the Chinese have a large role in a lot of these Western narratives. Now, whether or not that's really who built the walls, the canals, the tunnels, the mines,
the railroads,
the brick buildings, the quarry buildings, and plus they ran the various businesses. The first business in Napa is said to be Chinese laundry, and there was supposedly a Chinatown here, and supposedly they built the mystery walls too. But then they all got chased out of town, and all their Chinatowns burnt down, and then the people didn't like them, so they had to live out of town, and they had to go underground and have heroin den.
Interesting.
The story is so questionable. I call it it's the epic legend. And then where are they? Where did they all go? If they built every city in the West, there should be lots of Chinese people here. Very strange.
Another question for you from Jay Aldrich. Has anyone made the connection between Ferris wheels and a static electric generator? You ever thought about that?
I'm looking at those Ferris wheels, and I'm seeing some of the modern scaled down versions of magnetically driven wheels. So once the wheel passes the magnet with opposite polarity, it gives it a gentle push. Once you get it moving, it will essentially run until you stop it. I don't know what these Ferris wheels were doing, but they were popular, and the ones that were built in the early years, we've never seen these again. Was it the Chicago that had the room for 2,000?
Yeah, and St. Louis had the same one. They shipped it to St. Louis for their World's Fair, the same one, and then they got rid of it.
Yeah. There was a Ferris wheel behind the Sutro Baths, and it was moved to Golden Gate Park, and I believe now it is on the San Francisco waterfront, but it's not very big.
Another question: do you draw any connections between the acanthus plant and Christ?
Yes. So I was watching it was a great channel. I think it's called Hidden History. Is that the right name of it?
Hidden Truth. Yeah. I know.
Yeah. Great. It does a great job of examining and pointing out. Apparently, the plant that we see in the 8-petaled motifs that are continually repeating, as well as the top of many of these columns, are a very unique leaf, and it is said to represent the possibly now difficult to find, or it may still exist, but it translates to thorn or thorny bush, and apparently it's the plant of the thorny crown worn at crucifixion of Christ,
which no longer exists. Apparently, that plant.
It's I think the translation may not correspond, and the plant It's not a common plant, not real
Mm.
common.
Mm.
But it might, some of the Hidden Truth channel is under the opinion that these buildings may have been built without hands, and those various statuaries and representations indicate 1,000-year reign.
It's all very interesting, and it's
It's a
interesting
great
to look
channel.
into.
If you haven't seen his exploration and tour of the is it the City Hall of Philadelphia?
Yeah, the recent one. Yeah.
Fantastic tour. 25-foot thick walls, incredible. They wanted to tear it down, but it would have bankrupted the city. So there it is, still there. But fantastic.
Yeah.
Great job.
Yeah. All right. You think are we ready to sign off?
Yes.
Well, thank you for joining me on my channel and sharing
Always.
everything that you discovered. And we'll do it again, I'm sure.
I'd like to talk about Fresnel lenses one day.
Yeah.
In those lighthouses, there was maybe a dozen of them in this area, and the first one on Alcatraz, first California West Coast Fresnel lighthouse on Alcatraz, not really visible for ships until you are lined up straight with the Golden Gate. Otherwise, no value to you.
Very
Strange.
interesting.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, until next time, I'll sign off here. We'll say thank you again to everyone watching. If you're watching the replay, appreciate you watching. Hit the thumbs up button. Sub to Kairos. If you haven't subbed to my channel, sub to my channel. And start your own channel. If you've got interests and you have the means to, make videos, it's not that hard. And the more the merrier in this field of research, I would say. Yeah. Okay. Thanks again, Kairos. Till next time.
Thank you.
This has been an old world exploration. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe, hit the thumbs up button, and comment. I believe we are in the process of remembering who we really are and casting off the shackles of illusion. Until next time.